Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. This is Orphanlast, aka Skylar Madison, and today I'm continuing this anticipation head turn animation. I didn't really feel the need to show you guys a rendered version of the work I've done here, primarily because I was planning on having this thing finished by now, and there's really nothing truly impressive to see, in my opinion. I mean, it's just a really rough sketch, and by the time that the video ends, you get a good idea as to what it is that I did, just by watching what I did. So I start this video off by refining the things that I discussed in my last video in the 51 animation challenges and adding those 2 frames. And then I go about coloring and adding basically the rough idea of what's going to be the shadows and highlights. As I colored the animation and started to work on the shadows and highlights, I just saw a few things that still needed refinement with the actual drawings themselves, but I already had a vector level for the line work and a Toons raster level for the coloring, and any new tweaks that I'd offer to the animation would need to be done twice, which is really frustrating. It'd be nice to have a layer meant for coloring that would somehow match up to whatever it is that you assign the colors to, kind of like how it works on Moho. I'll see if I can find a workflow for issues like that in my next video, but it might just be so far in the animation process that I might either have to redo a good amount of coloring or do something else, or I might just leave it. I don't know. Some of it's not all too noticeable. I'm not really sure what I'll have to do, but that's where I am with this animation. Like I said in the 12th Noble Frugal Studio collaboration video, I truly believe that I could have had this animation looking better, and I could have had it done finished a while back already if OpenToons actually had a VPaint layer. Don't get me wrong, OpenToons is fine just the way it is. No full-featured animation suite anywhere has a VPaint layer currently, but eventually I'll be making a Kickstarter to request a VPaint layer down the road for OpenToons. Now, I would talk more about this, about the VPaint layer, but last week I felt like I had to thank everyone twice for receiving 500 subscribers, because my speed painting videos get the least amount of views. You guys really should watch those videos. Sometimes I'm just talking about OpenToons related things in the voiceovers, and I feel there's a portion of my audience that's missing out. Yes, those videos are unscripted because I feel they're a bit more informal than my tutorials and such. And though this video won't be in my OpenToons playlist because this video isn't really a tutorial either, I feel as though since my channel is centered on OpenToons and I've invested so much money into OpenToons, I should keep any video about the animation side of things pretty formal. Now I've gone ahead and colored my Toons raster level, and right now I'm coloring the line work on my vector level. And with these black and red lines, I'm basically drawing out what will be my shadows and highlights. Black will be my shadows, red will be my highlights. I first tried out drawing them with a raster level, but quickly realized how stupid that was, and then went back to using a vector level, devoted to just the shadows and highlights. I also realize now that I should have been working on one shadow and trailing it through the full animation in one pass, then go to the next shadow and trail it through the entire animation in a second pass. Then go ahead and find a highlight and trail it through the full animation for a third pass and such like that. And this is because there comes a point to where there's just so much going on that it's hard to keep track of all of it. So just remember that while you're animating anything, try to remember to take one or two elements of what you're animating and finish that first, then move on to the second, third, fourth, fifth pass. Take things incrementally, or however many passes you need in order to get the animation done. So this video is basically me showcasing what not to do, is what I feel. Now, it's this stage especially that I really wished that I had a VPaint layer, actually, where I'm making these shadows and highlights, because I feel like I'm just repeating the same step over and over and over and over again. And the reason why I feel like that is because that's exactly what I'm doing for each and every single drawing. The way the vector animation complex is in VPaint and how it's all put together makes animating so much easier. It allows you to essentially create a rig without cutouts, without millions of different levels, without a mesh. But I would actually want to see it done with a bone tool and working with animation curves and motion curves and such like that. VPaint is such a rudimentary program, just as a standalone program. It's just this little beta, missing tons and tons of features. But with it even being just what it is, it's still kind of amazing, just with what it is already. But if we could put VPaint into OpenToons, there's so many different things that we could do with it that could really improve not just OpenToons, but could actually improve what you already see in VPaint. You could download VPaint, just Google it, play with it, read the help menu. Now, it's really easy to look at VPaint just as what it is and just dismissing it as being something kind of stupid. But seriously, give it its fair shake. Find out what makes that program special, because what makes it special is pretty revolutionary, in my opinion. And I kind of think it's the future of animation, because it's not traditional animation and it's not cutout animation either. It's something better. It's kind of like a hybrid of the two, all at the same time, and you can have as much of a traditional workflow while still treating any part of your animation as a cutout animation rig without having to do extra work to split those portions of what you're animating into a bunch of different layers. It's amazing in that sense. Now, within the next coming weeks, I'm going to be working on a video where I'm going to have a demonstration of me working with VPaint and showing what it can do. And I'm kind of going to do a little bit of a side-by-side comparison of what the vectors can and can't do inside of OpenToons, and showing what a side-by-side comparison of what VPaint can do in comparison. But in the end, OpenToons can do far more than what VPaint can do. OpenToons is far superior in so many different ways because it has so many different features. But VPaint would boost the feature-rich qualities found in OpenToons. In that video, I'll also be discussing, with that presentation, how I think a VPaint layer would function inside of OpenToons. But let's go ahead and continue talking about this animation. In the next and final video in the Anticipation Head Turn series, I'll go into greater detail and make that video more of a tutorial. But for right now, I'm focusing on nailing down a good workflow for the system we have right now. People have been animating like this for decades now. There's nothing wrong with it, though I do find it more difficult to draw out traditional animation on a graphics tablet. I would probably have less difficulty with pencil and paper. It's not truly the fault of the tools. It's not the tool, it's the person. Even though I'm not feeling like this animation is up to the level that I would like it to be, I do still feel as though I have plans for it in the future. However, once I feel my audience is big enough for me to make a successful Kickstarter for VPaint layers, and once the VPaint layer is introduced into OpenToons, I plan on revisiting this animation and refining it more down the road. And for all of that to happen, it could be potentially years down the road. Now, hopefully I'll be able to come out with 2 animation videos next week. One where I finish this animation, and another where I go ahead and tackle the next animation challenge. Hopefully that's something I can do. I'm starting to realize why animated characters always seem to have the same oddly shaped face and such. Not all the time, but a lot of the time. You add all these rugged features and you wind up with these weird in-between discrepancies where things like the cheekbones, the angle of the jaw, and the chin can easily do some odd trailing motions. So later on, I'll probably tackle a character with this level of detail, but I think that I'll continue to learn to crawl before I try to learn to run. I do feel as though testing to see how good you are is a good practice, because sometimes you need a reminder of the things that you need to improve on before you can animate something closer to the level that you can illustrate. This is just hard for me to balance the idea of making a more simplistic character that animates well and still think that it's the best I can do, especially when it winds up looking moderately cartoony. So occasionally I'll continue revisiting a more realistic looking character, but I think I'm going to take a break from that for a bit and just continue to crawl before I run. Anyways, guys, that pretty much concludes it for this video. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe. Please feel free to take a look at my other videos. And if you didn't like this video, please like, share, and subscribe anyways. Thank you.